Hello and good morning. My name is John Thomas Miller, otherwise known as JT, and I'm here to present to you on the tweetment of Twitter in the classroom. Unfortunately, I'm not there in person in Omaha because today is the first day of school at my high school, E.L. Haynes High School in Washington, D.C. So I apologize that I'm presenting via YouTube, but the presentation is still the same. If you have questions or concerns about my presentation, please email me at jmiller@elhaynes.org and I'd be happy to respond. On to the presentation. In the next 10 minutes, I hope to answer two questions. One is, why do I use Twitter in my classroom, as well as how do I go about using this social media in my classroom effectively? First, why? Social media is all around us. It is how our students communicate with one another, be it either Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, whatever it is, this is how they communicate. And so for me to be able to increase the communication that I have with my students, I have chosen Twitter as the mechanism to do that. Besides just communicating with my students, I've also been able to raise awareness of them of different physics resources and news stories that happen every single day. And so it's a way for me to make them more aware of the physics around them via Twitter. Thirdly, it helps me network with other physics teachers. Like many high school physics teachers, we are the only ones in the building. And so via Twitter, I am able to follow other physics teachers and know what they are doing in their classroom. It is fascinating how many physics teachers are on Twitter, and it has increased my network of physics teachers 100-fold. It has allowed me to connect and communicate with them in ways that I couldn't have imagined prior to Twitter. So if for it alone, you should get on Twitter to be able to network with other physics teachers. Now, how do I go about using this in my classroom? There are many articles about teachers using it in the classroom, and this is how I go about doing it. First off, for every single class, I will tweet their homework every single night. It is a way for my students to be able to receive it and them to reference it, so it helps them avoid the excuse, I didn't know what the homework was. Also, I will tweet what we did in class that day. And this not only serves as a nice reminder to students of, oh yeah, we did that lab in class, or oh, we took a quiz, but it also helps parents who choose to follow me on Twitter because they get to know what is going on in the physics classroom as well. And so when the student comes home and the parent, instead of asking the question, how was school, and they get the typical teenage answer, fine, instead they can ask a more detailed question of, hey, can you tell me about that lab that you did today in physics class? I read about it on Mr. Miller's Twitter feed. Also, I have students, not only do they receive tweets from me, but I also ask them to be an active participant on Twitter, and so they're responsible for tweeting once a week about what they did in class. It can be about anything, but it has to be in reference to class. Also, I use Twitter to help keep my students up to date on other physics happenings that are outside, to show them that physics is not just contained in my classroom, but it is in the world around them. Here I have a short video that gives some examples of my tweets of the week that my students had tweeted out, and so I want to share that with you. It gives a nice example of what my students are talking about from class. So that was just a sample of my students' tweets, and I want to show you how I go about using Twitter in my classroom, what kind of my day-to-day looks like. I use a program called HootSuite, and HootSuite allows me to manage my tweets, not only of who I am following, but also my tweets that my students are sending out. HootSuite, at hootsuite.com, it's a free account. You get a variety of columns, and this first column is called my home feed, and so this shows up all of the various tweets of people that I follow, as well as it puts out the tweets that I send out as well. And so here the AAPT booth is set up and ready to go, so hopefully you all checked that out last night. Here is a part, and this is what I really like about HootSuite, is pending tweets. I can schedule my tweets. So I've actually scheduled this tweet to be sent out at 8:45 tomorrow morning. Today is Sunday, but being sent out. So I don't have to be on the computer. It will automatically be sent out. So this is something that I would set up during my planning period, as I would type in my tweets and then have them sent after school so that they weren't interrupting students during the day. Here are a couple of feeds of tweets, and they are listed by the hashtag, and that's how I am able to follow my students. If they include the hashtag here, in this case TKCP, into their tweets, then it allows them to become searchable. And the same thing, this was a Science 9 class that I taught. So as long as they have TKCP in their tweet, it will show up here, and so I'm able to read them. Now I'm at a new high school, and so now I have a new hashtag, and that is ELHPH6. A hashtag is something that you can make up. It's not a big deal, but here ELHPH6, that's the hashtag for any tweets that are going to be pertaining to my class. I also include this hashtag FB, and that's so that all of my tweets will also show up on my Facebook page, but that's a different presentation. In addition to searching folks, HootSuite keeps a record of all the tweets that I have sent out, as well as it keeps track of any direct messages that people have sent to me via Twitter, which is great. And then also, if anybody has ever mentioned me in their tweets, then it will show up here as well. You can manage many different accounts in your HootSuite. So I have 2 different accounts, my Miller Physics Twitter account, as well as my Science Olympiad, so I can toggle between the 2 and never have to leave HootSuite. I hope this has been helpful. I would like to show you quickly my website, where I've got many different links for you. So my website is millerphysics.com, and you can click on links. And then here is Tweetment of Twitter in the classroom. There are various presentations, a few other videos to see, as well as a whole slew of articles to read that can help you understand a little bit more about using Twitter in your classroom. Again, my name is JT Miller, and this has been my presentation on the Tweetment of Twitter, and you can reach me at jmiller@elhaines.org. Thank you, and have a great conference.